Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Forgotten Weapons. I'm Ian McCollum and I will be your host here on the channel. This video is going to be an overview of what you can expect, a state of the channel for 2020, and it will also serve as the basic channel introductory video on YouTube's homepage for Forgotten Weapons for the next year. So you may hear some things you already know if you're a longtime subscriber. If you're brand new, welcome aboard. What can you expect here at Forgotten Weapons? Well, this channel is an exploration of the history and the mechanics and the stories behind unusual, interesting, and developmental sorts of firearms. Now, we're not specifically only guns that have been forgotten. I will also cover from time to time more common or more well understood guns, but I believe that in order to understand the common ones, you really have to understand the ones that are uncommon, that failed, and in order to understand why some guns failed in the marketplace or in the military, you really have to have a proper understanding of the ones that succeeded in their place. So we will cover both, but I always try to emphasize unusual and interesting varieties of firearms. Now, this is an entirely apolitical channel here, so I'll do my best to be neutral on political subjects that come up in the history of firearms. There are many examples of insurgent movements, which could be terrorists or could be freedom fighters, depending on your perspective. So we'll leave that to you. We here are going to take a look at just the firearms themselves and the stories behind them. The guns that you see here on Forgotten Weapons will really vary across all spectrums. They'll come from all over the planet. They'll vary in size from little compact pocket pistols up to emplaced artillery, and they'll come from hundreds of years of history, everything from the 1600s through yesterday, or perhaps even tomorrow. As far as the actual video content, separated from the guns, you will be seeing this year 6 videos per week. I am actually stepping back just slightly from 7 videos a week to 6, simply not because I'm running out of content, trust me, but because I have a lot of other projects that I would really like to work on. And the only way I'm able to do that is by giving myself 1 day a week that I'm not dedicating to specific video content. So what you will see in 2020 is going to be 3 videos per week specifically on individual firearms, 1 video per week that will have shooting in it, anything from, again, pocket pistols to artillery. It will cover the whole spectrum. And then 2 videos per week on commentary, Q&A videos, book reviews, technical questions, videos explaining mechanical systems that are unique to different types of firearms, a wide variety of content like that. So you might be wondering, where does he find all these wonderful toys? Well, the answer is most of the guns that I film are not guns that I own myself. I work with a wide variety of individuals and organizations, both in the United States and around the world, to find unusual firearms, document them, archive their history, and bring that to you. So that includes private collectors, it includes public and private museums, it includes auction companies, it includes even law enforcement and military organizations from time to time. So often these people or organizations prefer to remain anonymous, which I'm happy to oblige them with, but sometimes they would like to be acknowledged for what they contribute. And so I will often acknowledge at the beginning and or end of a video if I'm working with a particular organization that has gone out of their way to provide guns for me to film to bring to you. One of the unavoidable side effects of working with collectors and museums and groups that are dedicated to the preservation of history is that it's not always possible for me to actually shoot all of the guns that I'm putting on camera. Sometimes it is, and when it is, I do my best to get some cool shooting footage, both because it's fun to watch and it's fun to do, but also because they're elements of firearms history and function that you can really only understand with actual live fire, things that don't come through when a gun's just sitting on a table. So I do that as much as I can, but it's often simply not possible. So this is the state of the channel for 2020. So what cool, exciting new stuff can you expect for the coming year? Well, a couple things. The one you may already know about is Headstamp Publishing. That is the book company that I set up with a couple partners to publish my own book on French military rifles. And we have a bunch of other cool stuff in the pipeline. So we have one on the history of the Russian Avtomat, which is going to be super cool, being written by Max Popyenko, who a lot of you may know from his website, Modern Firearms. We also, in fact, the next book that we will be publishing, which hopefully will be pre-selling in the first quarter of this year, is going to be the history of British bullpup rifles, written by Jonathan Ferguson of the National Firearms Centre in the UK. also sometimes colloquially known as the Pattern Room. That one's going to be super cool as well. And of course, I've got plans for my own next book that I will be starting this year. I don't want to spill the beans on that too much just yet until I'm a little farther down the road. The other big project that I have lined up for this year is what I'm calling the Archive Project, and it's kind of getting back to the roots of Forgotten Weapons. When I started this, about 10 years ago now, it wasn't just a video channel. In fact, it wasn't a video channel at all. It was a website to archive and preserve information, trials reports, photographs, all sorts of information on interesting and unusual and rare firearms. And I would like to get back into doing more of that. I don't really have the time to do it solo right now, so starting a couple months ago, I started working on setting up a good archival system on ForgottenWeapons.com, and one of my big projects for 2020 is to get that really moving. I'll be getting some assistance to work on that, to get documents, to source documents, and get them uploaded, archived, searchable, indexed, all that sort of good stuff. Beyond those things, of course, we have all the regular stuff that I always do. So I'll be traveling across the country as well as internationally this year. I've got a couple really cool museum visits planned where I'm going to do some filming. I don't really want to go into details lest plans fall through and you get false expectations, but there will absolutely be some very cool new content from international museums as well as auctions, collections, and museums here in the United States. One of my founding principles for Forgotten Weapons, dating all the way back to when it was just this archival blog website, was a principle of open access, that the information that I'm putting together is intended to be available for free to everyone in perpetuity, so no paywall. That said, the amount of travel that I do and just the ability to do this full-time without having to have another job, that all does cost money. If you'd like to help support it, if you're a fan of the channel and would like to help give back, my primary source of income is patreon.com. Voluntary donations from folks there. So I have a link to Patreon in the description text below. It's patreon.com/forgottenweapons. And there are a variety of pledge levels with some perks and extra cool benefits that you can check out there if you're interested. I also have a merchandise shop that's linked in each video, and we have a variety of cool merchandise from pretty cheap stuff to pretty expensive stuff, and I would like to think a pretty cool variety of items and artwork and cool stuff there. So check that out as well if you're interested in supporting the channel. And of course, also you can check out Headstamp Publishing. A portion of book sales there do also go to me. So all of those things are options for those of you who would like to support the channel, but recognize that whether you do or not, as long as Forgotten Weapons survives, it will be free, open access, all the information available to everybody. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this little brief look at what Forgotten Weapons is. I look forward to a fantastic, entertaining, and very educational 2020, and I hope you have the same. Thanks for watching.